In the build-up to BBC's Children in Need appeal, Paul Leather has been walking and talking with different groups and individuals across Devon, highlighting this year's campaign. It's called Walk and Talk for Children in Need. Well, today, Paul is walking and talking with Merv Burd, a street pastor working in the working in the Tiverton area.
Well, the rain is looking like it might arrive here in Tiverton, and judging by the Met Office, it's going to pour down soon. So I was hoping to do a live interview with an old friend of BBC Radio Devon, Merv Burd. Now, we decided we'd be sensible and we've pre-recorded it, but I don't like the look of the weather, Merv. It is looking decidedly wet, isn't it?
Yeah, and Dan did say this morning on the weather forecast, it's going to come in.
Did he? Well, if Dan said it, we're going to do it. Anyway, enough about the weather. It's brilliant to be here. We're going to have a walk in Tiverton, because I don't know Tiverton very well. And when I was talking to you, you said there was a fantastic towpath and a canal. So we're walking along the towpath. Along which canal is it?
This is the Tiverton Grand Western Canal and Country Park.
Right, but there's not many people around today, probably because it's bit grey and damp, but it's actually very picturesque, isn't it, with the narrow boats all brightly coloured and some very nice houses that back onto the water. There's something about water. We decided that walking near water is very therapeutic.
You're absolutely right, Paul, because and welcome to Tiverton, by the way, but there's something about walking on the coastal path and also walking on a beach beside the sea, but there's something about still water. And even though I like each of those types of walking I've just mentioned, there's something about walking along the towpath up here in Tiverton, which I do quite regularly. Still water.
Now, part of the reason I always like meeting up with you is because I'm a brash southerner, brought up in London, spent a lot of time in Birmingham, but you are quintessentially a Devon man, and we don't hear many Devon dialects like yours. Do you consider yourself to be a proper Devon man? Are you a Tivy man?
I'm a proper Devon boy, me, out from Eggesford those years ago and now in Tivy.
I don't know what you said, but I'm sure it's absolutely great. Now, you and Sheila, your wife, are involved in pastoral ministries up here. You're a street pastor. Tell me a bit about what it is that you do.
Yeah, Sheila and myself, we're very much involved in a community and pastoral care work linked with our church, King Street Chapel. We actually work from the front doorstep outwards, out into the community. So we're visiting people, not just of the church, but otherwise. And we're meeting them right where they are. And one of the biggest things we do, because of people having various issues and challenges, is it will be a listening ear for people in their situation and meet them right where they are.
So do people come and knock your door, or how do they get in touch with you if they want some sort of guidance, care and love?
Sometimes there's referrals made to us from a number of different sources, but other times we find ourselves going out to perhaps knock on someone's door we've not seen for a while and catch up with them and that sort of thing, yes. Brilliant.
It's lovely that you do that. I know someone's fishing here, so I'm intrigued, and it's got a very long pole. It's not Paul Whitehouse, is it? Hello there, you're doing a bit of fishing. Can I ask what you're fishing for? Obviously fish, but what sort of fish?
Roach, perch, bream, anything that comes along. Small carp, whatever.
And this is going to be a good day for fishing?
No, it's been absolutely blooming awful.
I'm glad you held on to it for a second there. Brilliant. Well, we'll leave you to it. I hope the rain doesn't come and put it all off.
Trust you catch some as time unfolds. There we are. Well done.
So here we are in Tiverton, having a walk. Now, you don't have to be near a towpath even, do you? Or, as you said earlier, along the coastal path. You can find a bit of space and you can go and walk. And this year, as you're probably aware by now, Mervyn, the theme or the main campaign behind Children in Need is walking and talking. Now, I know you're a good talker because you've come into Radio Devon for many years now and done Pause for Thought, and it's always made me stop and listen even if I was working. So that's been fantastic. What do you see the value in walking and talking?
Well, in particular with the work we're involved in, Sheila and myself, and also being a street pastor here in Tiverton, we do find that people are obviously faced with the issues like I mentioned just now, but walking and talking is something that when we are walking, when we're out in the country like this in particular, we've changed our focus. We're now looking at not only still water, but we're changing our focus to what we see. Not just the flowers, or even some budding and some out, but also the wildlife as we move along.
Well, I was speaking to my brother, actually, who's a doctor of the outdoor environment. He studied it, it's his thing, and he was saying there's been an incredible amount of research done on what blue skies do to us physiologically. You know, it actually fires off things chemically in our mind when we see water, when we see trees, when we see nature. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is, because you see, since the beginning of COVID, we've gone into a tremendous time of transition. There have been so many changes, and you know, we as humans, and we actually have found it difficult and hard to actually cope with some of the challenges and the transitions we've been faced with. But you know, when you come out like this, you just change your focus completely. And I can see just further up we've got a swan that is actually making its way towards us, and what a graceful sight it actually is, just watching this swan come along. And you see, as I watch that swan there now, Paul, you know, it's not suffering from any cares or anxiety. It's just making its way gently along, and you know, even the ducks that are in following as well, look, they don't appear to have got any cares or any anxiety. But we humans, we can find ourselves getting into a bit of a stir-crazy situation at times, and we can find ourselves getting so stretched and stressed, you know, not just with the transitions of life that we're faced with, but also with the issues that come against us unexpectedly.
Yeah, you're so right. But we've been walking with, or I've been walking with a number of walking groups, and that's been great. And I've also walked with individuals like yourself. But I've often had times when I haven't got anyone to talk to on a walk or go walking with. Got any tips?
Yes.
I thought you would have.
Yeah. Walking along like this, you can actually, I find, coming up and just walking, wherever you walk, it changes your focus. And you see, the thing is, Paul, we actually live in a very high-tech society, the highest tech society that there's ever lived. And yet we find ourselves still face to face with the issues of life that can try us and test us to the quick. And what I find, walking in a place like this, I find my focus changes completely. You can actually find yourselves, because coming out like this is not only good for the eyes, it's good for the mind and good for the soul as well. Yeah,
it is. Do you pray when you go walking?
I do indeed, because we're actually walking in God's creation, and nature itself, linking up with God's creation in nature like we are. You know, I watch and I come back to the swan again. It's actually linked to nature completely, look, and the ducks. And, you know, I find just walking like this, it links me up, changes my focus, and helps to alleviate those things perhaps I was troubled with, or a situation I was dealing with, actually visiting someone earlier in the day.
Well, it's certainly changed my focus, even just for half an hour or so, and it's certainly drawn my attention to nature. What with those noisy gulls in the background, but you've got to love them because they do make you smile, some of their behaviours, don't they? Mervyn, street pastor, friend of Radio Devon, it's been absolutely lovely sharing some time with you, having a walk and a talk. Thank you.
Thank you, and we meet again next time.
Oh, wasn't it lovely to hear those birds in the background, and good to hear that it didn't rain too heavily on them right then. Mervyn's such a lovely man. It's really lovely to hear his voice again. In fact, we've had a call from Kate in Eggersford who said Mervyn's dad was part of the original Forestry Commission, which started throughout the country down here. In fact, its anniversary is soon on December the 8th. Oh, that's my wedding anniversary. I shall remember it well. Kate, many thanks for that. And if you would like to take part in BBC Children in Need, there is still time. Just go to bbc.co.uk/Pudsey and follow the links to Walk and Talk.